Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, Chapter 11. Swayambhuva Manu advises Dhruva Maharaj. Text 20. Na vai sapaksha asya vipaksha eva ba parasya mrittor vishatah samang prajaha tang dhavamanam anudhavanti anisha jatha rajangsi anilam bhuta sangaha. Na vai sapaksha so vipaksha eva va parasya mrittor vishato samang praja tang dhavamanam anudhavanta nisha jatha rajangsha nilang bhuta sangya. Na vai sapaksha asya vipaksha eva va parasya mrittur vishato samang praja tang dhavamanam anudhavanta nisha jatha rajangsha nilang bhuta sangha. Na vai sapaksha asya vipaksha eva va parasya mrittur vishata samang praja tang dhavamanam anudhavanta nisha jatha rajangsya nilang bhuta sangha. Sya vipaksha eva va parasya mrityo vishatah samang praja tvam dhavamanam anudhavanta nisha jatha nilam bhuta sangha. Na vai sapaksha asya vipaksha eva va parasya mrittur vishatah samang praja tam dhavamanam anudhavanta nisha jatha rajangsha nilam bhuta sangha. Sapaksha asya vipaksha eva va parasya mrittur vishatah samang praja tam dhavamanam anudhavanti anisha yatha rajamsi nilam bhuta sangha. Mataji's.
Na vai sapaksha asya vipaksha eva va parasya mrityor vishatah samang praja
Na, not. Vai, however. Swapaksha, ally. Asya, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vipaksha, enemy. Eva, certainly. Va, or. Parasya, of the Supreme. Mrittu, in the form of time. Vishataha, entering. Samam, equally. Prajaha, living entities. Tam, him. Dhavamanam, moving. Anudhavanti, follow behind. Anishaha, dependent living entities. Yatha, as. Rajangshi, particles of dust. Anilam, the wind. Bhuta Sangha, other material elements. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, in His feature of eternal time, is present in the material world and is neutral towards everyone. No one is His ally and no one is His enemy. Within the jurisdiction of the time element, everyone enjoys or suffers the results of his own karma or fruitive activities. As when the wind blows, small particles of dust fly in the air, so according to one's particular karma, one suffers or enjoys material life. Please repeat after me. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, in His feature of eternal time, is present in the material world and is neutral towards everyone. No one is His ally and no one is His enemy. Within the jurisdiction of time element, everyone enjoys or suffers the results of his own karma, fruitive activities. As when the wind blows, small particles of dust fly in the air. So, according to one's own particular karma, one suffers or enjoys material life. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Although the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the original cause of all causes, He is not responsible for anyone's material suffering or enjoyment. There is no such partiality on the part of the Supreme Lord. The less intelligence accuse the Supreme Lord of being partial and claim that this is why one enjoys in the material world and another suffers. But this verse specifically says that there is no such partiality on the part of the Supreme Lord. Living entities, however, are never independent. As soon as they declare their independence of the Supreme Controller, they are immediately put into the material world to try their luck freely, as far as possible. When the material world is created for such misguided living entities, they create their own karma, fruitive activities, and take advantage and take advantage of the time element, and thereby they create their own fortune or misfortune. Everyone is created, everyone is maintained, and everyone is ultimately killed. As far as these three things are concerned, the Lord is equal to everyone. It is according to one's karma that one suffers and enjoys. The living entity's higher or lower position, his suffering and enjoying, are due to his own karma. The exact word used in this connection is anishaha, which means dependent on their own karma. The example is given that the government gives everyone the facilities for governmental action and management. But by one's own choice, one creates a situation with which obliges him to exist under the different types of consciousness. The example given in this verse is that when the wind blows, particles of dust float in the air. Gradually lightning occurs, and then torrents of rains follow, and thus the rainy season creates a situation of varieties in the forest. God is very kind. He gives everyone an equal chance, but by the resultant actions of one's own karma, one suffers or enjoys this material world. So, another very wonderful instruction from Swayambhuva Manu, and a wonderful purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Bhagavatam sometimes is difficult to understand. All the scriptures are difficult to understand because they are carrying the message of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, of the spiritual sky. Therefore, this knowledge is beyond our intelligence. That's why this knowledge has to be explained by an acharya. An acharya gives his commentary, explaining the statements, and they're all written in verse form, in the poetry form. Most of the shlokas of the scriptures are written in poetry form. Because in the spiritual sky, they don't speak like prose form. They sing. So song must maintain meter and rhyme. And that's what all these scriptures are giving us in the form of poetry. Isn't it a beautiful poetry? Sabai sapakshasya vipaksha eva va parasya murtir vishato samang prajaha tang dhavamanam manudhavanta Jatha rajangsya nilang bhuta sangha. And now let's read the English. Of course, the English translation of Prabhupada also is very nice, but it's not in the poetry form. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, in His feature of eternal time, is present in the material world and is neutral towards everyone. No one is His ally, and no one is His enemy. Within the jurisdiction of the time element, everyone enjoys or suffers the result of his own karma or fruitive activities. And when the wind blows, small particles of dust fly in the air, so according to one's particular karma, one suffers or enjoys material life. So, such a wonderful wisdom. We can understand the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is completely neutral. Just as the king is neutral to his citizens. But the way the citizens behave, he gets the results of his action. If somebody breaks the law of the king, then what happens? He ends up in the prison. And if somebody abides by the law, then he has a happy life. The law says, okay, go to the universities and study. Then one goes and studies. And then he gets good result. When he gets good result, then he gets a good job. But those who do not study properly, then what happens? They end up failing. Or they end up joining Hare Krishna. That's a good option. That's a compromise. Actually, education system is a compromise to the system that the society has created. But some people don't like to conform to that system, become a part of that system. Many people did that. They see what's the use of this education. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, although one of the most brilliant persons of his time, did not pursue this educational career. Srila Prabhupada also rejected his degree. So that is another education. But unfortunately, in today's society, this education is not available. Only in ISKCON, through Srila Prabhupada's mercy, this education is being available to this world. This is the real wisdom. What's the point in being a big scholar, having a big degree, and become somebody's slave? Prabhupada pointed out, what is this education system? नौकरी करना. नौकरी करने का मतलब क्या है? और किसी को नौकर बनना. और किसी को नौकर बनना. Big education, studied for so many years. About 12 years in school, another 3 years in the college, then another 4 years in the university. 19 years is gone there. But then, apply for a job. And nowadays, the jobs are not available. In some countries in Europe, like in France, 50% youth are unemployed. They don't have jobs. In UK, 25% of the youth are unemployed. In India, due to the mercy of America, now some job opportunities are there. But otherwise, India was the worst situation. I remember in the 60s and 70s, there was a big unemployment in India. So that's the time the brain drain started. All the engineers, doctors, they all left India in search of a job in Europe and America, mainly America. Now the question is, should we struggle for so many years to become a servant of Microsoft? That's the ambition, that's the biggest goal of life. Like sometimes I tell people, like just before the class, one very important person came to see me. His only son, he was telling, he's sent his son is in Kota preparing for IIT admission. His wife also is there with his son. He is alone. Big person, a general manager of a big industry. But he is so concerned about his son's admission in IIT. But little does he know, like many other fathers, that when he goes to IIT, he'll end up joining ISKCON. So many IIT students are now joining ISKCON. So why go to Kota? Come to Ujjain. And with us there is no unemployment. This is the wonderful structure of Varnashram. In Varnashram there is no unemployment. Everybody has an employment according to his Varna. You are a Brahmin, study. So many books are there, study. Spend your time just studying and teaching. You first learn and then you teach. Will we ever have any unemployment in that occupation? No. So many people to preach to. And if you are a Kshatriya, okay, fine. Go and make your kingdom. Fight. Raise your army. In the Vedic society, it used to happen like from nothing one would become a king. An example is Chandragupta. He was nobody. Chanakya saw him. Chanakya, the Brahmana, he saw the noble qualities of Kshatriya in this boy. And he took that boy. He saw the Kshatriya qualities in him and he trained him up. Helped him to raise an army. He made his own army. And then he defeated Jarasandha, who was practically the ruler of India, the king of Magad. He defeated him and took over his kingdom, became the king. So that's a Kshatriya. But of course, unfortunately, in the democratic society, there is no room for Kshatriya. In the democratic society, in the society of pygmies, there is no room for a giant. The Kshatriyas are like powerful warriors. At the most, they can become mafias. They create their... Kshatriya creates his own law. Kshatriya gives protection to his own people. He doesn't depend upon the court and lawyers to give protection. He gives the protection with his strength, with his own physical strength and with the strength of his army. Prabhupada pointed out the problem is that in this society there is no room for Kshatriyas. Everybody has become Sudra. In this society, this is a Sudra society, Kali Yuga. And in the Sudra society, there are some Vaishyas at the most. Prabhupada is creating the Brahmanas through ISKCON. Now what is lacking, what is needed is a Kshatriya. But in the democratic society, there is no room for Kshatriya. The leader is not allowed, nobody is allowed to establish himself as a leader with his strength, with his military power or physical strength. Actually, Kshatriya not only needs physical strength, he needs mental strength also, intelligent strength also, and he needs the military strength. Like another example of a Kshatriya in this age was Shivaji. Can Shivaji be made by popular vote? By popular vote, you will get some Sudra to come up as a political leader, some manipulator, not with their own ability that they are becoming leaders. By gaining popular vote, they are becoming leader, and no training. So, and Shivaji was not only physically strong, actually he was intelligent. His intelligence was very, very developed. Very intelligent ruler. Therefore he could actually defeat the Mughals, although they were ruling over practically entire of North India. Gave them a very tough time. So these are the warriors of India. Anyway, so as I was saying, in the Vedic society, the Kshatriyas will have their freedom to develop their Kshatriya qualities. Like they will, with their own strength, they will attract other warriors. The other warriors will follow them. Yes, we want to follow you. And this is how he grows, he develops his army. And then with the army, he says, okay, I need some place to rule. And he takes over the kingdom. If the other king is stronger, then he will be defeated by him. But if he defeats the other king, then he'll take over his kingdom. In this way, the most powerful one will be the ruler of the entire earth planet. That is the Kshatriya structure. Ashwamedh Yajna, the challenge horse. The challenge horse is sent out. Anyway, now you have an option to submit or fight. The other kings are given a choice. Either you surrender or you fight. And if he is defeated, then he comes under his subjugation. In this way, all the rulers of the earth planet are subdued and brought under control. And so now he is Ekachhatra Samrat, the ruler of the entire earth planet. Actually, all planets have a single ruler, generally. Is there democracy in the sun planet? Can you imagine? Democracy in moon planet? No. Sun god is ruling over sun planet. Somdev is ruling over moon planet. Brihaspati is ruling over Jupiter. In this way, different planets are being ruled over by different kings, different rulers, different leaders. That's why Brahmana and Kshatriyas are the two most important factors of the Vedic society. Then the Vaishyas, their business is to supply, trade. Supply and make profit. Society needs food, they are bringing food. Krishi, cultivation of land. Goraksha, protection of cows. And these are the two main factors, and Banijya. Krishi, Goraksha and Banijya. These are the three occupations of a Vaishya. He either cultivates the land, protects the cows, maintains the cows, or he trades. He goes to some place to get something from there and brings it to sell in this society. He takes one commodity from one place to another place, there he sells, where it is needed, there he sells it, and he buys something from there and brings it to sell here. And that's the business of a Vaishya. Krishi, Goraksha and Vanijya. And those who are not able to develop or find an independent occupation, they have the facility to serve under others' guidance, Sudra. He can't decide for himself what he should do. Therefore, he is engaged by others, higher classes of people. So this is the perfect Vedic society. And this society is established in perfect knowledge. And this is the knowledge that we are receiving in Srimad Bhagavatam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Supreme Controller. He is controlling everything, He is maintaining everything. But yet He is not directly involved in the material nature. In the material nature, everyone has his freedom to act. The freedom actually has only two options: sense gratification or service to Krishna. But you can see, for the sake of their sense gratification, they have to serve. So we are seeing, it's like the Sudras, they want to enjoy in different ways. But in today's society, to enjoy, you have to have money. Therefore, he is trying to earn money. And so on. So we can see, trying to earn money, what they're doing, they're serving. They're serving. So indirectly they're serving. Not directly. Actually, directly their intention is sense gratification. But they're ending up serving. And the other option is directly serve Krishna. You try to enjoy, you end up serving. But the other option is just serve Krishna. And that is the ultimate perfection of life. And Krishna is the Supreme Controller. As this chapter is explaining how Krishna is controlling in the form of time, through the arrangement of the three modes of material nature and the system of karmic reactions. It's some karmic reaction is something like, you do this, immediately the result will be there. Like a computer game. You press this button, the result will be this. You press that button, the result will be that. So karmic reaction is like a game. If you play the game properly, you will win. You play the game wrongly, you will lose. So that is the system of this material nature. But the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not involved. Prabhupada is saying in the purport that some people blame the Lord. Oh, why he is favoring these people, made them so rich. And look at me, so miserable. Why did he make me so poor? No, rich or poor, happiness or distress is all a matter of our own creation. Through our own action, we are creating the reactions. Therefore, the first instructions of the Vedas is act properly. Act in such a way that you won't suffer. You don't want to suffer, so act in such a way that you won't suffer. So that is actually leading to the arrangement that has been made by the Lord here. The demigods are controlling different affairs. And you perform yajna, please the demigods, pay the bill. You are getting the facilities, you pay the bill. You are getting the facilities of light at the end of the month, the electric supply department sends you the bill. You're using a mobile phone, at the end, Airtel is sending you the bill. You're getting the water supply, you're getting the bill. So pay the bill, the supply will be there. But if you don't pay the bill, then the supply will be interrupted. So very simple. This is the initial understanding, Karmakanda section of the Vedas. Then Karmakanda, it is coming to the Jnana-kanda, having the knowledge. Oh, what is the real knowledge? The real knowledge is that this material nature is a place of suffering. Do you want to stay in a place of suffering? You are trying to enjoy and you are paying the bill in so many ways, but still you are becoming miserable. So what should you do? Do you want to continue staying here? So Jnana-kanda is leading to liberation. Get out of this material nature. Don't stay here. But then, finally in Jnana-kanda, you're finding out how to really get out of the material nature. Bahunam janmanam ante Jnanavan mang prapaddate. Jnanavan, the real Jnanavan, surrenders unto me. And the less Jnanavan, he tries to escape from the prison by digging a tunnel. Arujya krichena padang padang tata patanti adha anadrita jushmadanghrai. They try to escape from this material nature, and through austerities and penances they become elevated to the padang padam, almost to the spiritual sky. But patanti adha, they fall down. Because the police catches him and brings him to the prison back. Brings him back to the prison. And now the suffering is even more intense. But the real Jnanavan finds out that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the controller of everything. He has given us the law. And what is the ultimate law? Surrender unto Him. Sarva dharman parityajya. Krishna gave a very simple instruction. Surrender unto me. Aham tuang sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami. I will deliver you from all your sinful reactions. Don't worry. So that is the real wisdom. That is the real knowledge. Just surrender. And if you surrender, yes, then you'll become free. That is the real liberation. At that time, liberation becomes insignificant. When one surrenders to Krishna, then even liberation becomes insignificant. Then it doesn't matter whether one is in the prison or outside. If you are serving the king, even though you are in the prison, are you a prisoner? The people, those who are serving the king in the prison, are they prisoners? No. But although they are in the prison, because they are serving the king is giving them so many facilities, big fat salary, big quarters to live, so many servants. So king has given him all these facilities. And he says, मैं तो यहाँ पर ही अच्छा हूँ. I am fine here in the prisons. I am not a prisoner. I am rather taking care of the prison house of the Lord. And then the king says that this servant in the prison is a very good servant. And I need some good servants in my palace. So he says, bring him to my palace so that he can serve me here. So that is the position of a devotee. Thank you, Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Does anybody have any question?
when a servant makes a mistake and later on understands his mistakes, then what is the process to actually he takes responsibility for it, but what is actually the process to rectify or undo those mistakes?
Appeal, submit, and admit. My Lord, I made a mistake. And because of mistake, there may be some immediate reaction, but then eventually the Lord sees when he is rectified, then he dismisses all the mistakes. Big question from Purna Pragya Das. Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam. When did you write the question? Where is Purna Pragya? Oh, okay, we are sitting here. यदि आप अभय प्रदान करते हैं तो एक प्रश्न पूछता हूँ. जैसे कि आपने क्लास में बताया था कि हम अपने पूर्वकृत कर्मों के कारण दुख भोग रहे हैं. मेरा प्रश्न ये है कि यदि भगवान हमें कष्ट देना चाहते हैं तो भक्तों के माध्यम से क्यों देते हैं? कभी कभी भक्तों को छल का आश्रय लेना पड़ता है, जैसे पैसा का बिल को फंसा देना हस्ताक्षर नहीं करता, झूठ बोलना, शिकायत करना इत्यादि. मैं समझ रहा हूँ कि मेरे दुखों का कारण मेरे पूर्व कर्म है, लेकिन जब ये प्रश्न भक्त के माध्यम से आते हैं तो भक्तों के प्रति हमारी श्रद्धा एवं विश्वास नष्ट हो जाता है. सो व्हाट्स योर क्वेश्चन? भक्त क्या करते हैं और तुम क्या करते हो? अगर तुम देखा कि भक्तों ने छल का आश्रय लेता है, कि बिल की फंसा देना, हस्ताक्षर नहीं करना, झूठ बोलना, तो ये क्लास में ना बता के अपने डिपार्टमेंट को बताओ. जो लीडर है यहाँ मंदिर का, तो लीडर है, उनको बताओ. और बात है कि तुम क्या करते हो? तुम हस्ताक्षर को ये करते हो, झूठ बोलते हो, तुम बोलते हो नहीं, बल्कि बाकी सब बोलते हैं. ऐसे मनोभाव अगर होगा तो कष्ट ही मिलता रहेगा. दूसरे को दोष देखकर, अगर दोष देखना है तो अपना दोष देखो, अपना में क्या गलती है वो देखो. This question is my question is, while performing devotional service, when one faces the results of his karma, he becomes despondent. It leads to a constant anxiety that how much more is still remaining, and wonders that when he will be able to execute bhakti happily. Please tell how to think in such situation. While performing devotional service, while performing devotional service, when one faces the results, there is no name, and the question is not very clear also. He faces the results of his karma. While performing devotional service, he faces the results of his karma. He becomes despondent. It leads to constant anxiety that how much more is still remaining, and wonders when will he be able to execute bhakti happily. So If you're rendering devotional service, then automatically you'll feel happy. But if you want sense gratification and you're thinking that by rendering devotional service you're going to get sense gratification, then you will feel despondent and think, oh, when this will be over. It's something like you are rendering devotional service, but you are thinking when that devotional service will be over and then I'll enjoy. Say for example, cooking for the deities. When the cooking will be over, offering will be made and then I'll eat. That's not devotional service. Devotional service means in whichever condition you are in, you are happily serving Krishna. How do you know that it is your karma? How do you know that Krishna is not actually putting you through these difficulties to test you? So if you are rendering devotional service, even if there is difficulty, you will see that this is also Krishna's mercy. Krishna has put you in that situation to test your devotion. Say for example, as I gave the example, you are cooking. While you are cooking, then you realize that there is no ghee in the kitchen. What will you do? Will you stop cooking? Or get a devotee to go to the market quickly and get the ghee. And while he is getting the ghee, you are cutting the vegetables. Then the ghee comes, you start cooking. Devotional service means no impediment. We are going to do everything for the sake of Krishna. For the sake of Krishna, I am prepared to accept any difficulty. Even if there is difficulty in rendering devotional service, devotee feels that is happiness. Tomar dukh sebaয় যত দুঃখ হয় সেই তো পরম সুখ. While serving you, if there is difficulty, if there is suffering, that is my happiness. So that is why we have to, devotional service means we are doing it for Krishna and no consideration of my feelings. Whether I am enjoying or suffering, it doesn't matter. Okay, yes.
So when it comes to surrender to a spiritual master or advanced devotee, then it's very easy for us to surrender. A feeling of gratitude comes. But when it comes to immediate authority or somebody else, then how can we develop a feeling of attitude of gratitude?
Yeah. So that's why devotees must develop these qualities. Whoever is in a leadership position has to develop these leadership qualities. An unqualified person in leadership position will not only command the respect of his followers, but he will not be able to create the proper atmosphere. So those who are in leadership position become qualified. Develop these Vaishnava qualities, then automatically, like who is a leader in a Vaishnava community? In the society of Vaishnavas, who becomes a leader? The best servant becomes the leader. It's through the service attitude that one becomes a leader, and not material qualification. Outside world is going for material qualification, but in devotional service, in spiritual platform, the ultimate consideration should be the service attitude. Because it's a society of servants. In the society of servants, who becomes the biggest servant? Who becomes the big leader? The biggest servant becomes the big leader. During Prabhupada's time, this mood was very prevalent. Prabhupada gave the recognition or big positions to those who served him the best. He made them the GBCs. He made them the leaders. So anyway, at least you all develop those qualities. There is a very common statement that don't demand respect, command respect. Don't beg, oh, why don't you respect me? Or, why don't you respect me? Just act in such a way that everybody will respect you. You don't have to think about respect. They will respect you. They love you. Okay. Any other question?
गुरु महाराज जी, मैंने अभी तात्पर्य अनुवाद पढ़ा था, मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा। प्रभुपाद जी के प्रति वो कृतज्ञता लग रही थी, ऐसे कि मेरे को लग रहा था आज अगर मैं कृष्णा भावना में नहीं आती थी और श्रील प्रभुपाद जी राग दिन करके शास्त्रीयता नहीं लिखते तो मेरा भी हाल आज वही बाहर के लोगों जैसा होता था। जैसे इसमें लिखा था, भगवान प्रभुपाद जी लिखते हैं कि हमको जो भी सुख दुख जो भी मिलता है वो सब हमारे कर्मों के अनुसार है। तो कुछ दिन पहले आपने कहा था कि श्री प्रभुपाद जी की बुक एक प्रकाश हमारे ध्यान नहीं करती, तो
बहुत अच्छा। तो आप क्या करोगी? ओके, वेरी गुड। और प्रभुपाद की सेवा में लगो। अच्छा, देयर इज अ क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम रूपाली फ्रॉम यूएसए। हरे कृष्ण महाराज, दंडवत, वंडरफुल क्लास। वी वुड लाइक टू नो if like to get initiated, what the standard we have to follow as we are grihasthas living in the United States. Need your comment on this, please. Thank you, your aspiring servant, Rupali, USA. Yeah, in ISKCON, for initiation, the first consideration is that you accept the process of Krishna consciousness seriously, follow the 4 regulative principles, chant Hare Krishna, and then read Prabhupada's books, and then take the guidance from your local temple. If you don't have a temple in your neighborhood or in the city where you are, then try to stay in touch with some temple that is near you and visit that temple, develop a relationship. And then you'll get to know different spiritual masters of ISKCON, and wherever you develop your faith in, you approach him for initiation. That stage is called Gurvashray, taking shelter of a guru. And then there is a minimum waiting period of 6 months after you take shelter, and at least after 6 months, whenever the spiritual master wants, he can give you initiation. Is that clear, Rupali? Thank you.
Brahmananda Gurdas Paruma, dear Maharaj, why we are putting 3 rounds around our neck?
When?
Kantimala.
What? Read the question again.
Why we are putting 3 rounds around our neck?
3 rounds around neck.
Means Kontimala.
Oh, Kantimala. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, generally, three rounds means that one is initiated. After initiation, one wears 3. Before initiation, one generally wears 1 or 2. But now why? I don't know. I know why one wears. I know why one wears Kantimala, because Tulasi Maharani, being in touch with Tulsi Maharani, one becomes immune to Jamraj's jurisdiction. Jamadutas cannot touch you if you are in contact with Tulasi. And general standard is after initiation 3, but sometimes one can wear 5, 6, 7, 8, depending upon how committed you are. But generally 1, 3 fettas they call it.
Sometimes students in base also ask like can they wear tulsi mala, but occasionally they may have to eat onion garlic. The chanting 60 rounds following.
They can wear tulsi mala. This is another point. Before initiation, one doesn't actually wear tulsi. It's only after initiation that. And before initiation, where one wears bale and neem. Malas made of bale wood or neem wood. It's after at the time of initiation, the spiritual master gives the tulsi mala. How many rounds do you have in your neck, Nitai Chandra? 1? Okay. Only 1 was visible. No, it's all right, I know. Thank you. Any other question? Yes?
Hare Krishna Prabhupada, when we focus on the working in such a way that we will not suffer, so that we can serve Krishna. When we doesn't suffer, we can serve Krishna easily. So when we focus on that thing, we will not. मतलब प्रभु जी हम इस तरीके से गुरु महाराज हम इस तरीके से एक्ट करते हैं कि हमें कोई तकलीफ नहीं आए या फिर मटेरियल चीज़ों पे ध्यान देके हम कुछ कार्य करते हैं, तो हमारा फोकस भक्ति हम करते हैं वो इसीलिए कि हम आगे भक्ति आसानी से कर सकें, पर वो करने के कारण भक्ति से ध्यान हट जाता है और हम खुद की सुविधाओं पे ध्यान ज़्यादा देने लग जाते हैं. तो हाउ कैन वी मेक अ बैलेंस?
ठीक है, करते रहो. अगर तकलीफ हो रहा है तो ठीक है, वो तकलीफ को संभालो पहले और उसके बाद भक्ति करो. ठीक है. और तकलीफ जब मिट गया है तब पूरा तरह भक्ति करते रहो. ओके.
Gopti Krishna Das, Hare Krishna Maharaj, Brahma, LGTSP. Is it okay to pronounce Rama as Ramo? Did Srila Prabhupada give any instruction on this subject?
Well, just pronounce it the way Prabhupada pronounced it. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Sometimes it will sound like Rama, sometimes it will sound like Ramo. Don't worry about it. As long as the Lord hears it. That's what matters. Rama doesn't matter. Sometimes it will sound like Rama, sometimes it will sound like Rama. Sometimes it will sound like Ram also. Sambandha Gyan is important. Who are you? Whose name are you chanting? That awareness is what is important. Somebody will say Ram and he'll think of whiskey, alcohol, Ram. So that is not important. Whether you call Ram, Ramo, Rama, but as long as it indicates the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that is what really matters. For example, like the child can't even say the name Mama, with broken words, saying it. But how does the mother feel? Does the mother think, oh, the pronunciation is not right? So similarly, Krishna, who is all loving, all merciful, he doesn't care. Sometimes Chinese people, they can't pronounce R. Instead of Ram, they say Lam. Do you think Krishna will say that, well, your pronunciation is not correct? No. Krishna will be happy. Oh, you are chanting my holy name. Sometimes, anyway. So, pronounce how it's pronounced, that's not important. That you are chanting the holy name for the pleasure of the Lord, that is what really matters. Okay, thank you very much.